This video is brought to you by MathGalaxy.com. This is our fractions program which covers these topics. And here we'll be looking at equivalent fractions. Most important thing about fractions is that the denominator, the bottom number, tells you how many pieces it takes to make a whole. In this case, 2. And the numerator, the top number, tells you how many of those pieces you have. And you can cut the pieces into smaller pieces, but the quantity will still stay the same. So here we cut each piece into 2. So now each piece is doubled, so we have a whole of 4 pieces, and the colored one is also doubled. So if you multiply top and bottom of a fraction by the same number, it doesn't change the quantity. It just converts them to a smaller size piece. So here we cut each piece 3 times. So we've tripled the number of pieces. We've gone from a whole of 2 pieces to a whole of 6 pieces. And the one colored piece is also tripled. Okay. So here we have 3 pieces out of 5. Let's say if we wanted to triple the number of pieces. Each piece becomes 3. So each of the 5 becomes 3, gives us a whole of 15 pieces. And since we had to multiply the top by the same number, each of the 3 pieces are tripled to 9. 3, 6, 9. Okay, so, and sometimes you may want to convert pieces to a certain size. So here we have 1 piece out of 6. If we want to convert the whole to 48 pieces, so to go from 6 to 48, we have to find the multiple, which is 8. So if each piece becomes 8, then the colored one, each of the colored one also are multiplied by 8. So now we have a whole of 48 pieces. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. 6 times 8 is 48, and the colored one becomes 8. Same quantity. 1 out of 6 is the same as 8 out of 48. So why would you want to convert pieces to a common size? Well, if you want to add or subtract pieces or compare them, pieces have to be the same size. These are fourths of a whole, and these are halves of a whole. So you can't say you have, if you were adding them, 4 pieces of anything meaningful. If one size is a multiple of the other, you can use the larger one as the common size. So halves can be converted into fourths, so that's the common size. So, and we don't have to change the fourths here. That stays the same. So to get from a whole of 2 pieces to a whole of 4 pieces, the multiple is 2, so we have to multiply the numerator by 2. Okay, so if we were adding these, we would have 5 fourths. Because the size of pieces doesn't change, you just add the number of pieces. And 5 fourths is 1 whole plus another fourths, which we'll get into as we get into reducing fractions. But here, if we were comparing these, which is greater, 1/2 or 3 fourths? Well, 3 pieces is better than 2, so 3 fourths is greater. So here we had 3 fourths, and here we started out with 1 out of 2. When we doubled each piece, we got 2 out of 4. What if one piece's size is not a multiple of the other? Well, you just look at multiples of each till you get a common one. So multiples of 9 are 9ths, 18ths, 27ths. And 9 is not a multiple of 2, but 18 is. So that's a common size that we can convert both to. So if you start with the larger one, look for the multiples of that and see which one of those matches the lower one. Okay, so going from a whole of 9 pieces to a whole of 18 pieces, we have to double each. So we have to double the 4 also. So that gives us 8 pieces. And to get from a whole of 2 pieces to a whole of 18 pieces, the multiple is 9. And then 9 times 1 is 9. Okay, so now if we were, say, adding these, we have 9 plus 8 is 17. So we have 17 pieces out of 18. So when you add or subtract, the size of the pieces doesn't change. Okay, but here, if we're comparing these, since they're the same size pieces now, 9 is better than 8, and since 9/18 is 1/2, 1/2 is greater than 4/9. So here we start out with 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 9. If we double the number of pieces, we got 8 out of 18. Here we start out with 1 piece out of 2. If we cut each into 9, we get 9 out of 18. Okay, so, and you can also talk about groups of things in terms of fractions. It's like, what fraction of these are black? So we have 3, 6, 8, 10 things, and how many of those are black? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of 10 are black. And what fraction of these are not black? Well, the other 5. Because the parts of a whole have to add up to 1. 5/10 plus 5/10 is 10/10 or 1. If you want more fractions practice, you can go to MathGalaxy.com. The program has 2 modes. One talks you through problems step by step. The other, you only need to give the final answer. And in the final answer mode, when you exit, you get a score, which you can also print. And this little critter here is a robot. For each problem that you do, you earn a robot, which you can use in a maze game called the Labyrinth. So, give you an idea of this, where you're just searching a maze till you collect the treasure and then try to get out safely. So you also have a laser here. Okay, so I'll give you an example of some of the other types of mazes. So here, and another game where you can practice fractions is the riddles game, which is like Wheel of Fortune, where the answers to math problems are clues to answers to a riddle. So here the riddle is, what do you call a cat that eats lemons? Okay, so for example here, O is at 3/6. So O goes there, and P is at 3/4, so P goes there, and so on. And another game is called Bridge the Swamp, where you can also practice fractions. 3 board sizes. So red is trying to build a bridge in this direction, green is trying to build a bridge in this direction, and the first player to complete a bridge and block the other player wins. If you know your math, you have a better chance of picking the square that you want. So if red is looking for 14 3/4, so let's see, well, 7 and 7 is 14, and that'll give us our 3/4. And if green is looking to block for 15 1/2, and 7 are 15, and the 4ths will give us the halves. So that's a quick review of equivalent fractions. Thank you for listening.